Good afternoon. My name is Jason Chavez, and I'm the chair of the Committee of the Whole. I'm going to call to order a regular committee meeting for Thursday, October 7th, 2025. Before we begin the meeting, I want to offer a friendly reminder to all members, staff, and the public that these meetings are broadcast live to enable greater public participation. These broadcasts include real-time captioning as a further method to increase accessibility of our proceedings to the community. Therefore, all speakers need to be mindful of the rate of their speech so that our captioners can fully capture and transcribe all comments for the broadcast. We ask all speakers to moderate the speed and clarity of their comments. At this time, I'll ask the clerk to call a roll to verify the presence of a quorum.
Councilmember Payne.
Present.
Wansley is absent. Rainville.
Present.
Vita.
Present.
Ellison is absent. Osman is absent. Cashman is absent. Jenkins is absent. Chugtai.
Present.
Koski.
Present.
Palmisano.
Present.
Vice Chair Chowdhury.
Present. Move to amend the agenda to include a legislative directive authored by Councilmember Wansley, and would ask for a second to that motion.
Second.
Colleagues, is there any questions on the motion to amend the agenda to add this directive under discussion? Seeing no further question, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? And that carries. The agenda is now before us, but before we begin, we'll first start off with committee reports. I'll first pass it to the Administration and Enterprise Oversight Committee chaired by Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. First, also like to be recorded as present, and an aye on the amendment.
Without objection, well, we haven't voted on the actual item yet, so.
The adding of the amendment?
We added,
Yeah.
so we're gonna be voting on that at the end of the meeting. I mean, if you want to be reflected on the motion, I don't think it's necessary, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
If the clerks can please note Councilmember Wansley's presence.
Thank you.
And Cashman.
Councilmember Cashman.
I'm actually going to ask my vice chair to take over and read. Thank you.
Certainly. The Administration and Enterprise Oversight Committee is bringing forward 18 items for consideration on Thursday. Item number 1 is a gift acceptance for airfare and lodging for one of our homegrown Minneapolis managers. Item number 2 is a grant application to the Secretary of State for accessibility for polling places for disability access. Item number 3 is a grant from the Department of Public Safety for a traffic safety resource prosecutor to support our drug evaluation and classification program. Item number 4 are contracts with various organizations for partnership engagement fund projects. Item number 5 is the contract with GovWorks for quality assurance software for 911. Item number 6 are various vendors for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Forest Service, Urban and Community Forestry Grant for tree outreach. Item number 7 is a contract amendment with Meyer for the Hennepin Avenue Reconstruction Project. Item number 8 is a contract amendment with the Art Conservation Center for public art maintenance and conservation services. Item number 9 is a contract amendment with Shaw Lundquist for City Hall Restack Phase 3C project. Item number 10 is a contract amendment with Birch Tree Care and Precision Landscape for hazardous tree removal services. Item 11 is a contract amendment with U.S. Bank and Elevon for merchant card and related services. Item 12 is large diameter storm main inspection and televising for this year for southwest part of the city. Item number 13 is a bid for Convention Center second floor public space painting. Item 14 is a legal settlement, a charge of discrimination, MDCR. Item 15 is a legal settlement with Liberty Mutual Insurance. And item number 16 and 17 are workers' compensation claims of Mark Menninger and Aaron Banks. Item number 18 is a contract amendment for Better Futures for occasional property maintenance services. I'm happy to answer or refer any questions.
Thank you so much. There is no one on queue, so next up we'll go on to the Budget Committee with the chair of that committee, Vice President Chuck Dye.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Budget Committee is bringing forward one item to Thursday's meeting for consideration, which is an appointed position in the 311 Service Center of Deputy 311 Service Center Director. And this is just amending a previous action by this council and correcting some points and salary range for this position. I'll stand for any questions. Thank
you. There are no questions, so next we'll go on to the Business, Housing, and Zoning Committee with the Vice Chair of that committee, Council Member and Vice Chair Chowdhury.
Thanks, Chair Chavez. The Biz Committee will be bringing 10 items forward to full council. Item 1 is approving a liquor and sidewalk cafe license for Belcor. Item 2 is approving a liquor license for Classics Kitchen and Cocktails. Item 3 is approving an ordinance related to rental licenses. Item number 4 is considering an ordinance related to alcohol license applications. This item was sent forward without recommendation. Item number 5 is considering a license revocation for Camden Social. This item was sent forward without recommendation. Item number 6 is approving a liquor license. Item number 7 is approving 40 liquor license renewals. Item number 8 is accepting the 2025 Spring Brownfield Grant Round. Item number 9 is accepting a grant to update animal shelter housing. And finally, item number 10 is authorizing a modification to a previous loan for the Dreamland on 38th project. I'll stand for any questions or would be happy to refer any questions.
Thank you. Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you, Chair. Just notice everybody, Councilmember Vita and I are going to co-author an amendment to that under 21 ordinance. And you'll see, you have the language, we'll get it to you again, and we can discuss it at the full meeting.
Great. And this is referring to item number 4, which is related to the alcohol license applications, right?
Correct.
Thank you.
Great. Seeing no further questions, next up we'll go on to the Climate and Infrastructure Committee, chaired by Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. The Climate and Infrastructure Committee is bringing forward 7 items. 1 is non-governmental tax-exempt parcel streetlight operation fees and assessments. 2 is non-governmental tax-exempt parcel street maintenance assessments. 3 is First Avenue South from Franklin to Grant reconstruction project with a project designation, cost estimate, and setting a public hearing. Number 4 is 2025 Minnesota Department of Natural Resources Local Trail Connections Grant for the Northside Greenway. 5 is the Northside Greenway Phase 1 concept layout approval. 6 is updating our uniform assessment rates. 7 is Cedar Avenue reconstruction from 24th Street East to Lake Street East, project designation, cost estimate, and setting a public hearing. I'll stand for questions.
Thank you. There are no questions. And lastly, we have the Public Health and Safety Committee. We're bringing forward 2 items. Item number 1 is the Homegrown Minneapolis Food Council appointments. And item number 2 is approving a legislative directive related to the shooting of Davis Maturi. And just want to let you all know that Council Member Wansley and I are bringing an amendment to correct the date on this legislative directive to reflect October 29th, 2025, not 2026. So that will come before us on phone council. And seeing that no one else is on queue, we can then begin the consent agenda before we begin the public hearing component of this. Item number 1 is a resolution that approves the ranks of the 2026 capital budget request and submits these to the Commissioner of Management and Budget. This item is before us today at COW and not the Intergovernmental Relations Committee because it is time-sensitive item. Staff is here with us today to answer any questions as well. Colleagues, do we have any questions on this item? No? Okay. So with that, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Any abstentions? And that item carries. Now we have our public hearing item, which approves an ordinance that allows for the creation of an arts commission and funding for public art. I will welcome up City Clerk Carl for a brief presentation before we open the public hearing.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. As noted, my name is Casey Carr. The privilege of serving as clerk for the City of Minneapolis. My office provides centralized administration and support for the city's appointed boards and commissions and is leading the work of implementing reforms that this body enacted by ordinance about this time 2 years ago in 2023. Under the provisions of that ordinance, a new classification system was adopted that categorizes all of the city's boards and commissions within a 5-tier system. Most of the reforms, as you know, directly impact the bodies that are in the 3rd tier, which focuses on advisory bodies created under the home rule authority that's vested in City Council and which do not have separate independent authority away from the council and which primarily exist to provide advice and recommendations to the city's governing body. As you know, the clerk's office has successfully reestablished 7 existing Tier 3 advisory bodies already, consistent with the terms of that enabling ordinance. Today, we're here to reestablish the existing Arts Commission, which has been determined to be a Tier 3 advisory body. Prior to the enactment of the reform ordinance, the Arts Commission was one of 2 bodies that were created by ordinance, but which were classified as Tier 3 bodies. Under the reform ordinance, Tier 3 bodies are created by resolution, not ordinance. So our work with respect to the Arts Commission has been preparing a standard resolution to reestablish the existing body consistent with the terms of our reform ordinance, and that resolution is before you today. In addition to the resolution reestablishing the Arts Commission as a Tier 3 advisory body, staff have submitted the bylaws and rules for approval, which do align with the already adopted standard bylaws and rules for appointed boards and commissions. They've been slightly modified to reflect the unique needs of operating for the Arts Commission based on our collaboration over the past several months with the staff liaisons in the Arts and Cultural Affairs Department. We request your positive recommendation for approval by council of the resolution reestablishing the Arts Commission and approving their bylaws and rules. And with that, Mr. Chair, I'd be happy to respond to questions or concerns after the public hearing has been completed.
Thank you, Clerk Carl. I appreciate the presentation. I will now open the public hearing and see if anybody has signed up. The first person on our list is Lucy Thompson. Welcome.
Thank you. Chair Chavez, City Council members, pardon my voice, I'm getting over some kind of a cold. I chair the Minneapolis Arts Commission, and I'm really appreciating this opportunity to address you today. Before I get started on our comments for the existing draft resolution and bylaws, I just wanted to remind you that we did adopt a resolution in September of 2023 at the time that you were considering the Chapter 10 ordinance that the city clerk just talked about, kind of reestablishing the rules for advisory bodies and commissions. So that was forwarded to you, so you should have that from at least a couple years ago. And I say that just so that you know we've been thinking about this for a couple years, right along with city staff, and we've really appreciated their attention and their giving information to us. So, as I said, I want to address both the resolution and the bylaws. I'll go through our concerns with the resolution, the draft resolution as proposed first. First of all, we actually believe that we should stay a Tier 2 body created by ordinance. As the city clerk referred to, we were originally established via ordinance in 1975, 50 years ago. So we believe that we, at that point, or even now, that we have specific delegated decision-making authority within a limited sphere, recognizably, of municipal policy and operations. We approve project and site selection for some public arts projects. We approve conservation and maintenance plans for artworks, and we approve the acquisition of new artworks. We don't support being created by resolution and, as proposed, only advising the mayor, city council, and Arts and Cultural Affairs Department staff on arts-related capital investments, public art policies, and the commissioning, placement, and maintenance of public artworks. The second point I wanted to make is related to the first. It's really about arts leadership in Minneapolis. We believe in a city the size of Minneapolis where arts and culture aren't, oh, I didn't know there was a time limit.
Thank you. And if you can submit those, that public testimony online as well, and our clerks can help you
Okay.
get that to all of us.
Okay,
Thank you for being here.
thank you.
Next up, we have Howard Dotson.
Good afternoon, Councilmember Chavez, council members. I emailed you some resources about expressive therapies. I've seen the healing power of art for 30 years. At Annunciation, we had crayons and markers out for the kids. At many art fairs, I recruit artists, and I'm wondering if the Art Commission could work with some of our other departments so that art can be a healing resource as we continue to recover from so many traumatic events. I've seen the healing power of art with refugee children in Lebanon, in Jordan, in Ukraine. It's the same expressive therapies that we use with the kids at Annunciation. So as an art commission, I support their work, and I'm hoping that if we have another response like we had at the Lyndhurst, that we have artists that have been cleared and vetted, and we can have more artists supporting the healing work in our community. So I support the Art Commission. I don't have a position on what level tier, but I think getting more artists integrated into your other departments, they can be a source of healing for our community.
All right. If anybody else wishes to provide testimony, please sign up. All right. Given that there's no indication that people want to provide more testimony, I will now close the public hearing and open it up this topic for discussion. I'll first pass it on to the author of this resolution and ordinance, Councilmember Palmisano.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for your comments today. We greatly appreciate the work of the Arts Commission in our city and the arts community. There's no question here. We all support the work of this body. I do have a couple questions for Clerk Carl relative to some of the letter that was sent by the Arts Commission and then also the testimony today. Mr. Carl, my understanding was that this was about creating consistency amongst boards and commissions. Can you remind us of the goals that we had hoped to achieve with reforming all boards and commissions?
Through the chair, thank you, Councilmember Palmisano, for that question. Yes, there were a series of both principles and goals, and I'll speak maybe first to the principles. From a principle perspective, when we reorganized and adopted the reform ordinance, we said that the principles to be used by the city in creating its boards and commissions would be that there would be an open and competitive process for nominations and appointments, and that we would work to assure equity in terms of getting the greatest possible level of engagement from all of the communities that comprise the city of Minneapolis. So that was a very high-level principled purpose for our reform. But from a pragmatic standpoint, in terms of operations, our goals were really about standardizing and providing uniformity across the 57 different boards and commissions that we have in terms of their operations, in terms of how meetings are planned and conducted, in terms of the staff level support that are offered to those. And the centerpiece of those operational reforms was that 5-tier system that was enacted by ordinance, and it creates in those 5 tiers an ability for us to really look at how a body is created and to develop policies that either apply uniformly to all 5 tiers or to one or multiple types of tiers based on the type of policies we're trying to do from a council perspective. Another thing, in addition to sort of uniform standardization for operations, is we really wanted to work, especially with the advisory boards classified in Tier 3, to tie their work more closely to the work of the enterprise by requiring both an annual work plan that would be tied to the strategic goals and priorities articulated by the mayor and council for the city enterprise, and also an annual work report saying, here are the things that we've accomplished over the year that tie to that work plan, all of which then tie back to the work of the city and those strategic goals and priorities that were identified by the mayors and the council. And so from that perspective, bringing that level of consistency and uniformity in the standardized operations to all 57 boards and commissions was one of the principal goals of that reform.
Thank you. I know that we all unanimously adopted that ordinance about 1.5 years ago. I came on as an author of this a lot more recently. I know a lot of work had been done, certainly before it got to me. Can you give me a sense of how long your office has been working on this?
Through the chair. As council is aware, when we adopted the ordinance in 2023, I mentioned that I started work on that reform in 2011. So from the clerk's office, we've worked on it for over a decade. But in terms of the nitty-gritty, we really started working on the details of those reforms in about 2021 and 2022. And then in particular, with the Arts Commission, subsequent to the adoption of the reform ordinance in 2023, we started working with them in earnest this past year. And for specific details, I'd be happy to recognize our program manager, Julie Hovland, who's led that effort. And she can maybe highlight some of the work we've done with the staff from the Arts and Cultural Affairs Department on bringing forward this resolution.
Sure. Just briefly, I think that would help because I think a lot of work has been done. This isn't something that's really being done to them, but has been being worked on with them for a while.
Good afternoon, Chair Chavez and committee members. I'm Julie Hovland, the program manager for the ABCs. Yes, as Clerk Carl mentioned, we began work with the department in March of this year, and with even though we were standardizing the boards, there were certain elements that we could get input from the department, such as membership makeup, whether they wanted to designate qualifications per seat. And then we came to a final working document with the department, with the attorney, and lots of members of the ABC program staff. Around on May 1st, I guess, we finalized that draft, which is now before you to be adopted.
And can you tell me, or Mr. Carl, whoever is best, are the functions or responsibilities of the Arts Commission changing in any way?
We developed the draft by looking at the current ordinance that they're operating under, and we tried to match that as closely as we can. We updated only language or took away items that were no longer part of the city based on the older structure of the city, but for the most part, the duties have remained the same.
And through the chair, Councilor Palmisano, I would say that although the duties of the Arts Commission largely remain unchanged between what was in ordinance and what's in resolution, one thing that will change for the Arts Commission, and this is a change that affects all boards and commissions, is in the ordinance, it requires that meetings of public bodies be conducted in public facilities, so government-owned or leased facilities. And some of our boards and commissions have been conducting their public meetings in non-public buildings and non-public spaces. And so the uniformity of the ordinance is it requires that public meetings of public bodies be in public spaces. Principally, that's to assure accessibility, which also includes compliance with ADA requirements, and also to minimize risk or exposure by the city if there were to be some kind of a challenge or problem using a space not owned or operated by the city. So that would be a change from their previous experience.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, one very last short question. How many of our boards and commissions have already been reformed at this point into this new construct, and how many are left to process?
I may have to call on Ms. Hovland to stir my memory, but I understand that we have completed of the Tier 3 bodies, which is the primary focus, 7, and I believe we have
7 more, maybe.
Approximately 7 more of the Tier 3 bodies left to reform, which will take us into next year.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, I think this kind of makes my point of my questions and why I think that this makes sense, and it doesn't come as a surprise, and this is just us moving forward with what we said we were going to do last year.
Thank you. Do any of my other colleagues have any questions or comments? Otherwise, no one else is on queue. Sounds good. Seeing no further discussion, I'll move approval of this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it, and that has been forwarded to full council. Now we will receive an update to receive and file from the Health Department on the 2025 license fee schedule, specifically for the PCAR CO2 equivalents. I will welcome up Senior Environmental Program Manager Jenny for that presentation.
Good afternoon, Chair Chavez, council members. My name is Jenny Lansing. I'm the Senior Environmental Project Manager in the Health Department. Excuse me, I'm also getting over a cold. So this presentation is in response to a legislative directive. The legislative directive asked for a fee study of the pollution control annual registration fee for carbon dioxide equivalents to reflect updated expense and revenue estimates. The fee studies should be based on a 95% recovery ratio and align with all relevant financial policies. I'm going to begin and end with this same slide as it has important financial information. At the top, you can see the expenses that can be recovered with the PCAR CO2e fee. There's $1.25 million in green cost share work that we have determined can be supported by the PCAR fees. There is the $120,000 cost of the new industrial outreach specialist who will be focused on working with facilities paying the new CO2e fee to help them complete green cost share pollution reduction projects. The total expenses are $1.37 million. At a 95% recovery rate, this would be a recovery revenue of just over $1.3 million. This results in a PCAR CO2e fee of $5 per ton with a total cap of $175,000 per facility. The reason for the cap is that we are limited in the amount of revenue we can collect by the cost of mitigation. The cap of $175,000 was chosen because these facilities are eligible to apply for this amount through the Innovative Green Cost Share, of which viable projects are likely to be funded. In addition to the $5 per ton fee, a 13% increase in specific PCAR equipment fees was passed, which adds a little over $163,000 to the revenue. This will be explained in further detail in the presentation. Together, this results in a revenue of $1.29 million, which works out to be a 94% cost recovery. We have been working with Braun Intertech since early spring on a fee study to aid in determining the PCAR fee recommendation for carbon dioxide equivalent emissions. In phase 1 of their work with us, Braun Intertech developed a database that included facility information on annual carbon dioxide equivalent emissions and liquid fuel usage for the years 2021, 2022, and 2023, as well as information about on-site equipment using liquid fuel. In phase 2 of their work, Braun identified carbon dioxide equivalent emissions reduction projects based on the identified emissions sources. These projects were evaluated based on their feasibility, economic viability, and environmental impact. The fee study focused on the use of liquid fuel, which is an area in which we hoped to expand the work of our Green Cost Share program. The fuel usage data, combined with the information obtained from the air permits, indicated that the most common diesel-using equipment in the facilities were emergency generators and boilers. Some facilities had dual fuel equipment, which is equipment with the capacity to use both diesel and natural gas. Potential carbon emissions reduction projects focused on alternatives to these diesel-fired equipment. Alternatives evaluated included using batteries, fuel cells, biodiesel, ethanol and ethanol blends, natural gas, and propane. In addition to these alternative fuels, the option to replace old equipment with newer and more efficient equipment was also explored in detail. Then each alternative technology or upgrade was evaluated for feasibility, economic viability, and emissions reduction potential. It was determined that the most feasible, economically viable, and highest emissions reduction option for emergency generators would be a switch from liquid fuel to natural gas. There is a 28% carbon emissions reduction when switching diesel to natural gas. Replacing old equipment with newer, more efficient equipment that could be powered by natural gas or propane was considered to be a viable option for facilities with replaceable equipment. However, since most of the identified boilers were already dual fuel, the ability to run on both natural gas and diesel, they were not considered as potential projects. We have evaluated our climate programming and determined that some of the existing green cost share work, specifically the large-scale greenhouse gas emissions RFP, is eligible to be supported by the PCAR fees. PCAR air emission fees are charged per ton of emissions. The total carbon dioxide equivalent emissions from all facilities from liquid fuel only was just under 2,000 tons in 2023. In order to get to the necessary 95% cost recovery, we would have had to charge over $600 per ton. This was incredibly high and would have had an unequitable distribution of cost to certain facilities. In addition, it was determined that some projects were likely not logistically feasible. For example, Abbott Hospital has 13 diesel-powered emergency generators, which are required by federal law to provide power in the event of loss of electricity. A switch to natural gas is not an option, as there is also the potential for disruption to the natural gas service line in an emergency. Due to this, and the fact that switching from liquid fuel to gaseous fuel is not carbon neutral and only results in an overall reduction of 28%, we decided to expand the scope. Thus, we expanded the scope to additional permitted facilities and other fuel sources, not only liquid fuels. This increased the carbon emissions tonnage to almost 1.5 million tons, and we could charge a much smaller dollar per ton fee with the potential for more greenhouse gas reduction projects across more facilities, reducing more emissions. This revenue will support our large-scale greenhouse gas reduction work to maintain the same level of programming as previous years. Facilities that will be paying this new CO2e fee are eligible to receive up to $175,000 in innovative green cost share funding, or could apply for up to $500,000 in grant funding for the large-scale greenhouse gas emission reduction projects through the Green Cost Share program. As I said on the first slide, to reach our cost recovery goals, we also added a 13% increase on PCAR equipment categories that contribute to carbon emissions. These are equipment that are operated on combustible liquid or gaseous fuel, or chemical storage units that may be used for the storage of the fuel. There are about 20 different registrations that fall under the three categories of energy, noise, and air pollution fees, commercial and industrial manufacturing equipment and processes fees, and chemical storage fees. This increase will add $163,202 towards the 95% cost recovery goal. So to recap, the total expense that can be recovered with the new P-CAR CO2e fee and P-CAR equipment fee increases is $1.37 million. The 95% recovery goal is just over $1.3 million. This results in a P-CAR CO2e fee of $5 per ton, with a total cap of $175,000 per facility. In addition to the $5 per ton fee, the 13% increase in specific P-CAR equipment fees adds a little over $163,000 to the revenue. Together, these fee changes results in a revenue of $1.29 million, which works out to be a 94% cost recovery. With that, I can stand for questions.
Thank you so much. First pass to Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. No questions, but I do have a couple of comments. First, thank you for this presentation. I know we weren't able to get to it in PHS, so thank you for the flexibility of coming before CAL today and sharing this information. I think this body knows that climate change and carbon emissions are a quite urgent emergency that's facing our residents, that's facing our country, our city, and we are being called to step up with bold and innovative solutions, especially with a federal administration that is very hostile towards climate resiliency initiatives. And I want to say a special thanks to our constituents who organized very extensively to get this body to pass a climate equity plan that lists a multitude of bold and innovative strategies for us to meet this moment. Without their urging, we wouldn't have work like this to consider. And building upon that, I know my office, as well as many of my colleagues, have probably received calls and emails urging the city to majorly increase our funding so that we can advance those dozens upon dozens of strategies and actions and policy suggestions that's listed in our climate equity climate equity plan that we passed in 2023. And we're also having ongoing conversations with, consideration of the impacts from the federal administration around the significant gaps in funding that we're contending with as we're also trying to meet this need. And I know a number of my colleagues, specifically Councilmember Cashman, Council Vice President Chuck Ty, and Councilmember Koski, are looking and bringing initiatives forward for us to really reevaluate how we continue to elevate funding at the scale that's needed to support this work. That said, I do want to hone in, of course, like carbon fees. For the past 3 years, community members identify as a way in which we could meet that need and bring in self-sustaining revenue to do so, to do that mitigation work and have polluters themselves foot the bill without having to continuously pass that burden on to taxpayers who are having to deal with both the effects of climate change and pollution in their communities, and also having to pay, ideally, for any effort to mitigate those damaging changes and subsidize that work. And that's why I was very moved to start this work on carbon fees about 3 years ago, because I recognize should the administration embrace it, it would be a valuable tool for us to advance our climate resiliency work. Now, I will note, though, throughout these past 3 years, and I've never shied away from acknowledging that, there's been a tremendous amount of challenges in working with the health department to meet this work with urgency and seriousness with implementation of it, all the way dating back to our goal was to have this fee implemented back in 2022. And after several months of meeting and strategizing with the goal of having something implemented in 2022, then stalled out a bit, and then in 2023 we were able to get a response from Director Hanlon stating that there was a timeline in which the department planned to do administrative background work, bring in a consultant so that we could have a P-CAR fee ready ideally for 2024 at least. And staff failed to meet that timeline once again. And I, again, just want to say thank you to my colleagues for continuously holding the department and its leadership accountable, the administration accountable, in spite of major delays, in spite of contracts not being executed so that we could get fees brought forward for us to implement it earlier so we could take this burden off of taxpayers earlier and do this mitigation work earlier. I want to say thank you to my colleagues who continuously supported every legislative action to move it forward. And it's because of you, we were not only able to finally pass a fee that was just reviewed today, but we were also able to override the veto of Mayor Fry when we brought this forward last year for passage. And once again, it is because of our dedication to our residents, our dedication towards making our city more climate resilient and climate friendly, that we're able to consider bold measures like this while also recognizing that that's just a starting point. We have to do more, and our residents are asking us to do more. And I wish there was more accountability for the lack of leadership and the issues that we experienced in this process, because I would hope that no other council member will have to deal with that as we're trying to be fully in compliance with what we passed in the climate equity plan. And I know department staff like yourself who presented, you all have been there supporting us and working with us to do what we can to make that happen, to make that work happen, so our constituents are seeing the fruits of our seriousness. So I want to say thank you to the staff in spite of those challenges with working with leadership. You all have approached this with seriousness. You've brought your expertise forward for us to finally put some closure on this particular chapter pertaining to carbon fees. And I know there's a whole list of other pollutants that we need to tackle and adding to the pollution control annual registration list. So I just want to say thank you to our staff, thank you to our residents, and thank you to our colleagues who took this work serious and refused to stop when we were constantly given a veto or constantly given a no with no evident reason to keep this work moving forward. So thank you for this presentation again, and thank you to my colleagues for your work and commitment to making this happen.
Next up, we have Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, Chair Chavez, and thank you so much, Ms. Lansing. Do you have a sense of how many greenhouse gas emissions will be mitigated annually with this new program?
Chair Chavez, Councilmember Cashman, this week we actually have the Industrial Outreach Specialist starting, which we're very excited about. She will begin work immediately, reaching out to all of the facilities that are paying this fee to look for potential greenhouse gas emission reduction projects. I don't at this time have a great estimate on that, but I hope that we have a better idea, certainly within, the next 6 months to a year as this new industrial outreach specialist begins work and begins getting into all of these facilities to look for these potential projects.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I know we have a presentation coming up in the Climate and Infrastructure Committee next cycle, which will be like our Q3 report about the Climate Legacy Initiative and our progress. So planning on asking, the Climate Equity Director, Megan Hoy, also, I think it would be important for us to set some goals with reductions, because that's ultimately the goal here, is actually achieving those emissions reductions and getting more in line with our climate goals as a city. And then wanted to ask you if we're expecting PCAR to bring in the same amount of funding revenue every year, or if that will change in the years to come, what you've outlined.
Yeah, that's a great question. Are you talking about PCAR in general or PCAR for CO2e fee for this
I think
fee?
both.
Both, yeah. I mean, our PCAR revenue has been increasing year to year. Okay. We haven't really seen a decline in recent years. So I would imagine that it should stay pretty steady with a slight increase. It depends on, the cost of mitigation. This fee in particular, the CO2e fee, we will be reevaluating it annually. And then, of course, we do, in line with the city finance recommendations, we do occasional % increases across the board for all PCAR fees.
Okay, thanks. And then are there any industries in the PCAR program that are either using or exploring hydrogen or green hydrogen for alternative fuels or fuel switching? Because I know you saw a lot, I saw a lot of like switching to natural gas, which is still a fossil fuel, so it's not, I mean, yeah, that's more efficient than other types of fuel, but I'm wondering if the green hydrogen has really hit the market as it was intended to with the Biden incentives.
Yeah, that's a great question. And part of the reason that we switched and expanded the scope of this from liquid fuel to include also gaseous fuel is so that we can also reduce gaseous fuel and natural gas use. But as far as hydrogen, that would probably be a question better suited for the sustainability team.
Okay, thanks. And then my last question was, who has the discretion to use the money that's coming in? Is it just for the Green Cost Share program alone and that industrial specialist? Or will it be kind of embedded in our Climate Legacy Initiative funding, which is used for many things?
My understanding is that it'll be generally embedded into the Climate Legacy Initiative funding. And we have a set amount that goes to the Green Cost Share program for pollution reduction projects.
Okay. Thank you so much for the presentation and for all your work on this. It's really great that we got to this place and that we're able to start rolling this out. And thank you, Councilmember Wansley, also for your leadership.
Next up, we have Councilmember Wansley.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on the inquiry you also made, Councilmember Cashman, regarding the updates of looking at revenue generated by PCAR fees, specifically either PCAR, the entire pollutants on that list, in addition to CO2. We do have an outstanding directive to the administration for a fee study because we recognize not all departments or all departments don't have a standardized way in which they're assessing their fees. So we're fully utilizing them, bringing in maximum revenue that's aligned with what's allowed under state statute to support these programs. So as you mentioned, the annual review, ideally we will have a report back of key departments or all city departments that do have fees. We will get an evaluation report of all those to see if there have been changes made, if there needs to be amendments brought forward. So I at least wanted to say that's outstanding, and we're working with the administration to bring that report forward too.
All right, seeing no further discussion, I will direct the clerk to receive and file that report. And colleagues, our last portion of the discussion is the item brought forward by Councilmember Wansley related to the executive order legislative directive. This was added to the agenda at the beginning of the meeting. Councilmember Wansley, would you like to speak on this item?
Yes, I would. Thank you, Chair Chavez. So this legislative directive essentially asks for a report back on any updates related to the executive order that Mayor Frye passed regarding the consent decree. I believe back in June, there was about 6 items that he included in that directive that issue either directions to the city attorney and his other department staff to basically say, these are the ways in which we're following up on the consent decree that's now dismissed by the Department of Justice. And there were timelines assigned to those provisions, such as 30 days for this, 90 days for that. We have now reached beyond the 90-day point for many of those things, and it would be great for us to get an understanding of how the administration is following up on the consent decree, considering our conversation and robust debate back in July around the city attorney's position of us not entering into a modified agreement with MDHR to integrate the consent decree provisions in it. We would love to know what implementation work is happening. So this legislative directive asks for those updates and for a report to come forward and presentation to come forward to this body by October 21st.
Thank you. We have City Attorney Anderson on queue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, council members. So number one, happy to report that the City Attorney's Office timely complied with all of the requirements under the Mayor's executive order. Very happy to come and do a presentation. I do have a conflict for October 21st, which I communicated to Councilmember Wansley's office. Not sure if it got to her or not. but wondering if you would be open to a change of the due date to November 3rd instead of the 21st.
Thank you, City Attorney. I did get the email from my staff. We figured, as what has happened before, you have deputies, maybe you could assign another city attorney to come give the presentation instead on October 21st, because we've received presentations from tons of staff who are working on this specific initiative. So felt that the 21st felt pretty reasonable in light of that.
I mean, I guess I would just say, Councilmember, I'm probably in the best position to both do the presentation and answer any questions about it. So I think I'm the best person to do the presentation if waiting another, I guess it's only another 2 weeks for the presentation would be acceptable.
Oh, answer, I would like to just move it forward.
Is there any other person that wants to get on queue? Councilmember Rainbow.
Thank you, Chair. I just think it's pretty reasonable if the city attorney is going to be here and she's the expert, give her that extra cycle to come back to us in person so we can answer questions to her directly. I won't be voting for this.
Okay.
All right. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Oh, there's people in queue.
Just kidding. Councilmember Cashman.
Thank you, Chair Chavez. I would also support moving the date so that our attorney can be there, and would propose that amendment if we
Sure.
can add that in.
Go for it.
So there's been a
Second.
motion and a second to what date?
The 3rd.
November 3rd, committee of the whole meeting?
Yep.
All right, so that's been moved and seconded, and now the queue is all over the place, so there's like 20 people with same names. Lene, Councilor Polsano.
I'm trying to take myself out of queue. It wasn't allowing me to get in. Sorry.
We'll call on you, Councilor Polsano.
No, I apologize. I was going to say what Councilmember Cashman already did, so I was trying to remove myself from queue, and nothing was happening on my screen, but now I've removed myself in all instances.
Councilor Rakowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just would like to ask the author, is there something like time-wise why it would be preferred to have this information in October versus the November date? I seconded the motion for Cashman, so I'm inclined to move it out. I just was wondering if there was something time-sensitive that you wanted.
I will just make sure to be in contact with the chairs to make sure we do have quorum then on the 3rd. Don't know what people's schedule will look like the day before a major election, so I want to make sure that all of my colleagues will be here. I'll work with the chair to make sure that happens. We have a majority, so the whole body can be here and receive the same information. But, yeah, I was
Okay.
amenable to the 3rd.
Sounds great. Thank you.
On queue, so Councilor Wanzi, are you okay with the date change? I'm just trying to get clarification.
Sure.
Here. Okay, so you do support the date change. I guess the only comment that I would have, because I put myself on queue, is that's like a month away. I think that if the city attorney just said that this has already been completed and the timelines have been completed, I'm not sure why we don't have access to this information already. So I guess what I would include, and I'm not sure if this is an amendment before full council, after we approve this date, is also making sure that the city council has this information, because if it's already completed based on the comments that were made today, why do we as city council members not have this information already? Why do we have to wait a whole month to wait on information when it comes to police accountability, oversight, making sure that we're following the directive that the mayor made? And, you know, a month is a long time to wait to make sure that police accountability is being followed in the city of Minneapolis. So those are some concerns that I do have. So I'm not sure, Councilor Wands, if you want to, so I guess based on the comments you made, you support the motion to amend this to talk about the November 3rd timeline. And I would say that before full council, maybe we can also add more language that says that we get this information as soon as possible, because I don't think we should be waiting for a whole month to get this information.
Yeah.
We wanted to have it publicly because the public should know what's happening, but we also shouldn't wait for a whole month to get a response on police accountability. That's just not right.
I'm in queue.
Yeah,
More
Councilmember
than happy
Wansley.
to respond to that amendment that I absolutely would be down to bring alongside you on Thursday to this is, one, keeping the October 21st deadline as a way to say we would like to have a receive and file report of the existing findings. That way it could be publicly available. Council members will have more than enough time to mull over, figure out questions ahead of the November 3rd, and then have a presentation to this body on November 3rd. So we can work on that and bring that together on Thursday.
I would be supportive of that.
Awesome.
Point of clarification, so on October 21st, there would be a public LIMS file that has the information, and then the presentation would be 2 weeks following that.
Yep, so there will be a receive and file on October 21st.
Great, thank you.
All right, so why don't we just move this forward without recommendation and then get that finalized language at full council, if that's okay with everybody here, just to make sure we have the reflected dates, the timelines that we talked about in this conversation, unless there's objection. All right, so on the motion to move this forward without recommendation, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Any abstentions? And that is moved to full council without recommendation, and we will figure that out as in the next few days. Okay, I think that was the last item. Before we go into closed session. The last item we have today is a closed session, and before I move to close the meeting, I'll recognize Madam City Attorney Anderson to provide the legal basis for the requested closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next item on the agenda is the litigation matter of United States of America versus State of Minnesota et al. 25 CV 03798. Your lawyers wish to provide a briefing to the council on this litigation matter. Accordingly, under the Minnesota Open Meeting Law, Minnesota Statute Section 13D.05, Subdivision 3B, the council may, upon a proper motion, close the meeting for the purposes of attorney-client communication as permitted by the attorney-client privilege. In considering the motion, the council should weigh the right of the public to know what its government is doing against the need of the city to preserve the confidentiality of its discussions with its attorneys.
Thank you, City Attorney Anderson. I move that our public meeting be closed as authorized under the provisions of the open meeting law, specifically Minnesota Statute Section 13D.05, for the purpose of receiving a briefing on the litigation matter listed on the agenda. This item is receiving a briefing related to the United States of America versus the state of Minnesota and others. May I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Second. There has been a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Any abstentions? That carries, and we will now close the public portion of our meeting and convene in closed session. For the viewing public, I will note that the broadcast of this meeting will continue, and the committee of the whole will reconvene in public after we conclude the closed session. Thank you. Clerks, we're ready. The time is now 3:01 p.m. and the Committee of the Whole has reconvened in open session following our closed session. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll to prove the presence of a quorum.
Councilmember Payne.
Present.
Wansley.
Present.
Rainville.
Present.
Vita.
Present.
Ellison is absent. Osman is absent. Cashman. Present. Jenkins.
Present.
Chugtai.
Present.
Koski.
Present.
Palmisano.
Present.
Vice Chair Chowdhury.
Present.
And Chair Chavez.
Present.
There are 11 members present.
Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. With that, we've concluded all business to come before the committee today, and hearing no objection, I will declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you.